All right, let's do a quick check-in here. Welcome back to the big board. We're looking at assault on Gallipoli. And, one of the challenges I have with area movement games and some of the storm over style games is that, and similar to many hex and counter games as well, is that sometimes it becomes a bucket of dice thing, and your plans, your strategies, your tactics, or whatever kind of go out the window when it comes to rolling 9 dice and hoping to get a 1, 2, 3, or a 4 modified by 1 or 2, as the case may be, right? And so we've got a very clustered map here, and we have, for instance, we have these 2 artillery pieces here, both of which have fired now. That guy should be flipped over. And they have seen that the Turks here are looking to make an advance into this particular area here. The Turks in the last activation removed the wire, so we'll now take that off so I could show that to you. I didn't want to forget that it was there. And they also reduced the trenches as well from a 2 to a 1. So pretty obvious that something's going to go down there. So we didn't, in the next activation, we didn't activate these guys. We want to keep them full strength so that they can fight back if someone attacks them from either of these 2 areas. And so I decided with my artillery that I would shoot into here and see what we can do to try and disrupt things. Now, the prior activation to that, actually, during that activation where we played the 2 cards, we played these 2 cards here. Maybe you can only play one at a time, I don't know. But I fired the artillery and it had no effect. I fired my artillery for the Allies into this area here. It also had no effect. 9 dice, no numbers that got close to being anything. All we ended up doing was moving the killing time track down 1. And so, which, sort of it's a random end turn threat that occurs when you roll 10s. So nothing's going on. So that was kind of a wasted activation. Your artillery barrage up on the hill there. The defenders are seeing something coming. So similarly, we've had other activations around here where just, nothing happens. And it's a 3-turn scenario. So I'm kind of looking here going, okay, what are we doing, right? And what are we actually achieving, and what are we what am I experiencing, I guess would be the correct terminology or correct way to state how I'm feeling. So what am I trying to do? I don't feel like anything I'm doing is having any effect. Now, I could just have easily, with those 9 dice, rolled 9 1s, right? Whatever the chances of that are. And that would have, eliminated all those guys, and the area would be empty, and it'd be a completely different story. And that is the point, I think, in part, is that there's this massive swing thing that occurs in these games that are of a similar nature to the Storm Over series. I'm not saying this is exactly like the Storm Over series, but it has that same sort of feel, and you're building a hand of cards and looking to play them at the right time and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know. I'm not sure I'm getting a lot of joy / satisfaction out of this versus, man, that's annoying, and I guess I'll wait till next turn to try and do the big assault. But I only have 1 more turn, and I've got to get to these VP locations to have any chance of winning as the Turks and as the Aussies or the Commonwealth. Obviously, I'm looking to hold off, these are 90% strain anyway, but looking to hold off the attackers. Just sit pretty, right, and wait. We fired our naval guns. They actually did a pretty good job over here. They put 4 hits on. But these guys were in the open, right? So it was easier to hit. They had a 1, 2, 3, or 4. They had a 40% chance of getting a hit on 10 dice. You got a good chance of doing something there. As soon as you start adding these trenches in, it makes for a lot of dice rolling to little effect. And I'm just wondering if, given this is a highly attritional warfare, World War I, and lots of blood and guts and lots of casualties on both sides, I'm not feeling the death toll rising here. But that's what's going on so far. So we're well on our way into turn 2. The killing time marker went from, it goes from 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, I guess that is 8 spaces. I'm halfway through the killing time marker. So we'll see what happens there, and we'll kind of go from it. The losses have been relatively equal, I would say. Yeah, in fact, they're almost identically equal at the moment. So several steps for both sides, maybe a couple steps more for the Turks. All right, that's what's going on so far. We'll check in a little bit. Ciao.